Hello and welcome to another Double D edition of the Creative Differences podcast. I'm Dallas and I'm disappointed in Colin and Gabby.
I'm Demi and this is what it's come to. Welcome to... No lie, guys. Maybe me and Dallas should just start a reaction channel.
Yeah.
Call it Double D Movie Reviews. Anyway, or actually Double D Movie Reactions.
I like it.
Yeah, we could do that. Anyways, welcome to another episode of Creative Differences podcast, your one-stop shop for movie reviews, Fan Cast Fridays, Throwback Thursdays, and a number of other pop culture-related items. Today, I am doing a review for 2021's West Side Story. Last episode, I said I was going to try and get Gabby on here. I tried. I failed, clearly.
I feel like Gabby failed. I wouldn't say you failed.
She did say she was coming.
Yes, she lied to us. And Colin also was planning to be here. He lied to us as well.
I don't think he lied to us. He just accidentally left his microphone at home.
I'm going to say he lied to us.
Quote unquote accidentally. No.
He's like, I'm not podding with these people. So yeah, Colin and Gabby are off being whacked somewhere, so they couldn't make it to the recording. But we're going to hold it down for you guys.
Don't worry. There's another episode coming out literally tomorrow, and Colin will be on that one.
Oh, right. Gabby will not because she's Gabby. All right. Before Demi gets into this movie,
let's go.
Please like and subscribe because at least half of us here at this podcast care about you guys enough to show up. You know, reward us. We're holding it down for you guys.
Putting our future careers at risk on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
Just so that we can make jokes and review movies. So, West Side Story, directed by Steven Spielberg, the highest grossing director of all time. You guys know who this man is. He directed E.T., the Indiana Jones series, Jaws, Jurassic Park, Schindler's List. It's a long list of fantastic, influential films.
For like 4-5 decades?
I don't know. A long time. It's been a long time. The movie was written by Tony Kushner, who also worked with Spielberg on Munich and Lincoln, and he also wrote a play called Angels in America, a gay fantasia on national themes. Colin is not here to react to that title, and I'm very disappointed.
I see why you wanted him here for that.
Ugh, so sad. The movie stars Rachel Zegler, Ansel Elgort, Ariana DeBose, David Alvarez, Mike Feist, and Rita Moreno. An adaptation of the 1957 musical, West Side Story explores forbidden love and the rivalry between the Jets and the Sharks, two teenage street gangs of different ethnic backgrounds, with music written by Leonard Bernstein and lyrics by the late, great Stephen Sondheim. Which I just want to say, last week we talked about the OG West Side Story.
Right.
We did not mention Sondheim's death.
Oh,
because we recorded it before he died.
Yes, we record some of our episodes in advance because sometimes we are on it.
Yes, and yeah, I did not get to, talk about how influential Sondheim was. I don't think I even mentioned his name last time, but I did mention that he writes fantastic music.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the first ever musical that he ever wrote at the age of 24.
Wow, 24.
Yeah.
Goodness
and he
gracious.
died at like the age of 90.
All right.
So
had a good run.
Lifelong lived, and he did get to see this movie before it came out.
Oh, cool.
However, one of the things that he wanted to do was get to see it with an audience, which he never got to do, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But man, is this like a fantastic tribute to the work that Sondheim has done. It's almost like full circle that like the first musical he ever wrote is the last movie that he ever like saw made after his work.
Right. That's crazy. Like that's like something you would write in like a fiction novel or something.
Yeah, it
like,
is, right? And
it's
then
full circle.
On top of that, he rewrote, we talked about Tick, Tick, Boom a couple of weeks ago. Well, Colin talked about Tick, Tick, Boom.
Yes.
Sondheim was incredibly influential and important to Jonathan Larson's career.
Mm-hmm.
And he is in Tick, Tick, Boom, played by Bradley Walsh, I want to say his name is.
Okay.
Really like him. He's a great actor. But there's a voicemail that Sondheim leaves Jonathan in that film.
Mm-hmm. And
Sondheim saw the film, I think, and he said, "This is a great movie, but this isn't what I would say in a voicemail. Can I rewrite it and write it for you?" And
nice.
He was like, "I don't know if you guys can get the actor back, but I'll gladly do the voicemail voice for
cool.
you." One of the final things that he ever did was that voicemail for Tick, Tick, Boom.
He recorded it?
He recorded it, and it's in the film, and it's a fantastic voicemail.
That's super cool.
So, sorry. Had to have a little spiel about Sondheim, because Sondheim was one of the greatest songwriters of our time, and he wrote the music in this movie. But on to this movie, this reimagining. Listen, if you don't want to listen to me go into depth about my review, that's fine. I'm going to preface it by saying every department was on their A game with this one.
Right.
Everybody did their job to the best of their abilities, and it came out stunning. Steven Spielberg continues to prove why he is a master of the craft.
As you should.
I think a lot of people were a little concerned. Some people will say he's been off and on in recent years. You know? Not everybody has been enjoying like Ready Player One and like BFG and like I think he did The Post as well. Those haven't really stuck with audiences.
Ready Player One is pretty divisive.
Yeah. But this one, man, you can tell this guy still got it. Like, never doubt Spielberg. Like, you can feel his passion for this project in the movie.
Right.
You can feel it. Every detail is, like, so technically marvelous and so very much his style as well. And it's hard to believe that this is his first musical.
Right. I saw that.
It's a stellar debut to the genre, man. He's never made a musical. And yet, like, you watch this movie and you're like, bro, this is, like, if it's not perfect, it is very nearly perfect.
Right.
Tony Kushner wrote the movie. He does an excellent job fleshing out these characters that we already know so well. They're like iconic, but like yet they feel more human and more real this time around.
So I had a question about that.
Yeah.
We know in the 1961 version that Maria is, I'll say, detrimentally dick dizzy. I know they're telling the same story.
It's the same story. That's still going to happen.
Okay,
yeah.
But like, is there any more...
There's no more time.
Common sense is the word.
I would say that this version of Maria definitely has more common sense. Does she do the same things? Yes.
Yeah. But it's like, I
feel like this time around they give her more reason to believe that Tony is a good guy.
Okay.
In this movie, her and Tony actually go on a date.
See, yeah, that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, at least give me something that's not, we met one time, then you stabbed my brother, and then I hopped on your dick.
No, they legitimately, he takes her out on a date the day after they meet. They actually go somewhere together and have a conversation about their lives and what they want out of life and stuff like that.
I was hoping for something more than what we got in the 60s.
And they add to these characters' backstories as well. Things make more sense this time around with characters.
That's all I needed. Because it's like, yeah, she's a dick dizzy dame, but I need more than that 50 years later. 60 years later, goodness gracious.
6 years. Even the supporting characters have like a journey to take. Like they gave Chino a storyline this time.
Really?
Yeah. I was like, Chino's a character. He's not just a plot device. Go ahead, Chino. Played by Josh Rivera, who like is Rachel Zegler's best friend. So we've been watching them like be dope across social media for years. And now they finally get to we get to see them on screen. I'm incredibly happy that Kushner made the Jets absolute assholes.
And those are the white ones,
yeah.
Right? Okay, got it.
Literally every time they have a chance to do like, you know, the best possible thing that you could do as a gangster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, let's just fight with fists. Like, they just elevate stuff. They just always choose the worst possible choice.
Okay.
From the first moment of the film, Spielberg and Kushner give the film a lot of historical context that makes the gang war even more tragic because they're fighting for land that they'll all inevitably be evicted from. Because they're growing up in a neighborhood, I think it's called San Juan Hill.
Okay.
And they destroyed that entire neighborhood and make it the Lincoln Center for the Arts.
Mm.
Spielberg and Rachel Zegler talked about that a lot in interviews. But this movie has a lot more historical context. Even though they don't talk about it much, they show it to you on screen.
Right.
Janis Kaminski's cinematography is incredible. Mm-hmm. Like, I talked about how much I like the cinematography in the original movie.
Right.
But, oh my gosh, this movie, the way he and Spielberg make the camera dance is just magical. It's as magical as the film's choreography. He also manages to frame the destruction around these characters so well.
Okay.
Because part of the neighborhood will be fine, and then like the building next door will be completely demolished.
Right.
So like he frames it, and it really emphasizes the violence and decimation of these characters, especially in the third act, and how like the destruction is making them also desperate. Okay. Towards the end, Spielberg and Kaminski made a shot of Tony standing in a puddle look gorgeous. Which is ridiculous. It looks so majestic.
Right.
Everything in the movie looks good. And Spielberg's mastery of blocking, Kaminski's camera moves, and Justin Peck's choreography just give the musical numbers flair and often emphasized meaning. So like the balcony scene.
Right.
I think in the original, it was just them on the balcony singing together. I want to say.
So.
I think that's like the iconic image that we've been using for the
thumbnail. I remember she
now.
kept telling him to shut up because he kept yelling her name.
Yeah, that doesn't matter this time. They don't have parents in this one.
They don't have parents?
Not in America. She comes to live with Anita and Bernardo, so it's just them living in an apartment together.
I like that.
No parents to worry about. So
yeah, and I feel like when you're doing dumb stuff, your parents aren't around.
It feels
like it makes more sense to me. Like, yeah, your parents ain't around to tell you to stop being stupid.
Yeah. But the balcony scene, for instance, which there's been a lot of footage has already been released from that, which is why I'll say it, because it doesn't feel like a spoiler. Like, it's out there on the internet for people to see.
Right.
But throughout the balcony scene, a lot of it is Tony trying to get up the balcony to her.
Okay.
And because of the way that it's blocked and the way that it's framed, every single time you see them, something is keeping them apart.
Okay.
So the balcony's keeping them apart, or the stairways keeping them apart, or the grates between them are keeping them apart.
Right.
Just like this visual emphasis on the world is keeping these two people from each other.
Got it.
And they're trying to get to one another. And I'm just like, ooh, movie making, cinema. Look at that. Amazing. This is why Spielberg is the master. The performances are superb, especially those done by the movie's mostly recent stars.
Right.
So Mike Feist and David Alvarez do amazing jobs as Riff and Bernardo, respectively.
Okay.
Ariana DeBose is so magnetic as Anita.
Nice.
You cannot take your eyes off of her when she's on screen, especially when she's dancing. Man, the way that her skirts would fly up when she would spin around and it's magical. It all looks so magical. And she and David Alvarez said that they wanted to be like this generation's Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, and like sign me up if Hollywood just decides to cast them in every movie musical possible, because they are amazing together. And their chemistry as a couple is also just amazing on screen.
Nice.
It's so good. I love it. Feist, Alvarez, and DeBose are what happen when you like actually hire Broadway performers or like professional theatrical performers into movie musicals.
Right.
Because
this is what they do.
Yeah, this is what they do.
Mm-hmm.
So now put them on a camera to do it.
Right.
And they're so good. And then we have Rachel Zegler, who is not a professional Broadway star, wanted to be a professional Broadway star, but this is her film debut, and she's keeping up with them.
Nice.
I mean, she doesn't do a lot of dancing in this movie, so she doesn't have that much to do on that side of things, but singing, acting, she's definitely holding her own. And finally, after years of hyping her up, I can say that she is a phenomenal actress.
It's good to finally get that confirmation.
Because I knew she was a great singer. I've been watching her on YouTube for years. And by the way, getting to hear her voice in an IMAX theater, oh my gosh, amazing. She's magic, man. She plays Maria with like far more intelligence and stubbornness, and like she's not as docile.
Okay.
Like, you know, she has opinions and
Right.
she has her own ideas of how she wants to live her life. It's not just she's going with what's happening in the movie. Like, no, there are legitimately things that she wants to fight against. Rachel still manages to keep Maria's innocence and idealism until the very end. She's a star. You only get a debut like this every so often. But yeah, watching those four actors, like everything just seems effortless. The singing, the acting, the dancing, all of it. Like, this is what I want out of a movie musical. When I go see a movie musical, I've said this before, I want to immediately get the soundtrack after I'm done watching the movie.
Right.
And
as you should.
Yeah, it should feel like magic when I'm watching it. And I remember I was talking about, when we talked about In the Heights, I talked about how John Chu is really good with musicals because he has a certain rhythm when he's filming it. And I feel like Spielberg like mastered that. I don't know how he did it so fast, but he mastered it. I mean, it comes from obviously the other movies that he's been doing for years.
Right. Was In the Heights John Chu's first musical?
He did Step Up movies, which aren't musicals, but it has at
okay,
least
but he had that
the
like that aspect of
musicality.
dancing.
Yeah.
And music. Okay.
Rita Moreno is amazing as always.
Right.
This time as Valentina, aka Doc's widow. That she was written
Oh.
specifically for this movie.
Interesting.
Took
I was
out-
wondering. I saw her now. It's like Valentina. I don't remember that name. So is she like the what's his name? Friar Tuck.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She is.
Does she run the shop?
Yes, she runs a pharmacy.
Okay. Cool.
So it's very interesting. A lot of people are saying that Rachel has a potential chance at getting an Oscar nom.
Okay.
Good for her. She would definitely earn it. Same with Ariana DeBose. She also would really earn an Oscar nom, which would be so fascinating because Rita Moreno won the Oscar for this exact same role.
Oh, right.
But Rita Moreno is also being said she might also have a chance at a nom for this movie as well, which would be interesting because getting 2 nominations for a reimagining of the same film.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that's
The
ever happened.
Oscars, they don't have like a best breakout role. Or
No, they
performance.
don't.
I feel like they should because you have like, the Grammys have best new artist, which,
Yep.
you can get 6 years in or whatever. But like,
This time
and
around, it
then-
wouldn't work that way.
right. We've talked before about the Oscars and Gabby's always talking about the politics and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I feel like if you're Rachel Zegler, this is your first movie. If you do an amazing job, but you're going up against people like,
Kristen Stewart, who I think is getting the Oscar.
right, or people who are like the Meryl Streeps,
Yep.
the blah, blah, blah. It's just like,
You're stacked against you.
right. And they're going to look at you and, I don't actually know the ins and outs of it, but if what Gabby says is true and they base it on,
this person didn't get an Oscar for this movie.
Right. They're going to look at you like, okay, was she a teenager? 19, 18?
She's now 20.
Okay, cool. So you're 20. You have a lot of time left.
Yeah.
Someone else has been waiting to get their Oscar. We might not give it to you. So I feel like it's not fair just because they look at me like I have more time to get it that I'm not going to potentially get it. So I feel like if you have Best Breakout Star or Best New Performer, I almost said Best New Starlet, but that's a porn award, so we're not going to do that.
Oh, God.
But even they have like a Rookie of the Year award. But yeah, if you have that, so then you have the people who are coming into the game going against each other. And you don't have all these old people who have been acting for 60 years looking at the new people like, oh, your time will come later.
Yeah. But, because she definitely gives a star-making performance in this. This is like when like old school when you watch like an actress come into the game, you're like, wow.
Right.
Who's that?
And I feel like that would be a really cool award to put these people on.
Yeah.
You would look at them like, oh, right, you won the Best New Performer. You won the Breakout Role Award. You're someone to look out for or whatever.
Yeah. Same thing. Yeah, like you said, the Grammys do it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Gives people somebody to keep their eye on.
Right.
Like I've said before, she's going to be in Shazam. She's going to be in Snow White. And I think this is going to change a lot of people's minds about her being Snow White because she definitely proves in this movie that she's got what it takes to do it.
Right.
Soundtrack, obviously amazing. Like I said, Sondheim, one of the greatest lyric writers of our time. Sondheim's final changes to the song America feel absolutely necessary. And so grateful that he got to change it finally. So it's not insulting to Puerto Ricans. One Hand, One Heart, Somewhere, and A Boy Like That, I Have a Love are all sung live. And they are all amazing.
Nice.
Justin Peck's choreography is beautiful, and the troupe of dancers performing it, they do it flawlessly. I'm going to leave it at that because there's so much about this movie. Talk about production design, all of it. Everything is just so great. I do want to mention, though, that there is a lot of use of Spanish in this movie.
Good.
And it is not subtitled.
Okay, cool.
Because Spielberg said that he wanted the use of Spanish language to be on the same platform as using English language. Right. We don't subtitle English language, so he didn't subtitle Spanish language. So as somebody who does not speak Spanish, I know a few words. Every so often I was like, oh, llorando means something like cry. Okay, so somebody was crying. I got that. But, it really, for something like that, you really depend on like the actor's body language.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the actors are doing such a fantastic job that you can still tell what's happening in the scene. But I do think that it's really cool that he did that. One of my friends who speaks Spanish, she's Colombian. Mm-hmm. She said even she didn't understand some of it, though, because she was like, it must have been like the Puerto Rican dialect of Spanish, which I think is cool. I want to give props to Spielberg and Kushner because they did do like town hall meetings in Puerto Rico before making the movie, asking how they could fix some of the problems of the original film, of the original play. They consulted their Puerto Rican actors and dancers about pronunciation and usage of certain Spanish words, how they would say certain phrases. Like, at least they were trying to be authentic this time around.
Right.
At least they were trying to get it right. And I appreciate that, and I think it shows on screen. This year we had Encanto, we had In the Heights, now we have West Side Story.
Yeah.
And even though West Side Story was not made by a Latino director, hopefully this will lead to more Latin stories being told in cinema.
As they should.
People are probably noticing that I did not talk about Ansel Elgort at all. I just want to say that I am highly aware of the allegations that have been made against Ansel Elgort. They were made after this movie was filmed already, so I also understand why Fox/Disney did not go back and reshoot it, because then you'd have to reshoot the whole movie. I'm not ignoring the allegations, but just to put those to the side for a second to actually critique his role in this film, I think that he does a good job in it. I do think he is the weakest link in it, though.
Interesting.
Because all the newcomers are making it look effortless.
Yeah. And
they all sink. And I don't know if maybe it's just that they all sink into their characters so easily because not a lot of us know who they are.
Okay.
So it's easier for us to watch this movie and be like, yeah, you're Anita. Mm-hmm. You're Bernardo. You're Riff. You're Maria. Ansel is, we know him.
Right. It's Baby Driver.
Yeah, he's Baby Driver. Like, we know him from other things. I feel like you would prefer this version of Cool. I do remember I sent into the group chat, there was like the behind the scenes footage. And I was like, yo, Spielberg said, we not dance fighting no more. Some of y'all getting knocked upside the head. And I sent you that video and you're like, yeah, this looks more like my thing.
Right.
Did not realize until I was watching the movie in the theater, that dude got hit in the head with a paint can.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Like, yo.
That's what happens when you try to make it look real, I guess.
That's horrible. Well, I mean, like, I don't know, behind the scenes, we actually got hit by a paint can, but the character is being...
Oh, the character
is being hit with a paint can.
Got it. I thought you meant an actor got hit.
I don't know. He might have. I don't know. But yeah.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Wow. We should move on. But yes, West Side Story is absolutely amazing. It's definitely going to be up for a few Oscars this year. If you love musicals, go for it. If you are annoyed with like story details from the original West Side Story, those aren't going away.
Yeah, of course.
All we can do is try and flesh out these characters more. And I think Kushner did that. And I think the actors did a fantastic job with those versions of the character. So.
All right.
It's already so hard to make a remake of a movie,
right?
Because people automatically just are like remake. There's nothing wrong with the old one except brownface.
Yeah, I feel like that's not the case with this movie at all.
Except people are still saying there's a classic. There was no need to remake it.
It's
except the brownface, guys. The brownface. We saw it. It was right there.
Right.
It's hard to make any remake better than the original, and I feel like this one does that. In my opinion, this is probably the definitive version. I definitely enjoyed this one way more than the original, and I think the original is a great movie,
right? Despite
its very obvious flaws.
Yeah, as long as we can fix the things of the past that were very of the past. It sounds like they did.
They did their best. You can't fix everything, but the things that they could fix, they definitely
can fix
tried to
brownface.
Fix. Oh yes, you can. Easily. And they did.
Good.
What you been watching, Dallas?
What I've been watching. All right, so I've been watching a lot. I narrowed it down to one thing I just finished when Demi walked in today. It's called The Premise. It is an anthology show on Hulu. Back when I was watching like trailer compilations on YouTube all the time.
Okay.
And then I stopped doing that because I realized I have too much stuff to watch already, and it's not helping.
It's not helping. You're just like,
no, I have too many shows. I gotta stop.
You know how much stuff I've had to like try and catch up on this month? It's ridiculous.
It's insane. I came across this one.
Yeah.
It's a anthology created by BJ Novak, who also wrote all the episodes and directed 2 of them.
I know that name too.
Yes, he's in The Office. He's in Inglourious Bastards. He's in Amazing Spider-Man 2. He plays Smythe.
That's probably why.
The guy who's being addicted.
Yeah, that's why I know that name so recently, because we've just watched The Amazing Spider-Man.
So yeah, that guy, he created the show. Okay, so it's an anthology. So it starts a lot of people. So.
Lots of people.
Ben Platt, Tracy Ellis Ross, Jermaine Fowler, John Bernthal, Boyd Holbrook, Lucius Hedges, Caitlin Dever, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Daniel Day Kim, and the late great Ed Asner.
Ooh.
In addition to a bunch of other people, including George Wallace. He's dope too. IMDb summary is anthological series that uses the boldest issues of our times as a jumping off point to tell singular character-driven stories about the world we live in today. First off, it's only 5 episodes, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
Because as we talked about having too many shows to watch, I love when I can knock one out really quickly.
Yes.
Like, ooh, 5, I got it. 5 episodes,
That's how I
half
feel
an hour
about,
each.
With Love coming out soon, but we'll talk about it in a bit. 5. I
okay,
heard
cool.
that it's 5.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, each episode starts with BJ Novak. He's getting into his Rod Serling bag.
Nice.
Like he steps in, he introduces the episode. It's funny because episode 3, it starts with, he says, movies are too long. TV shows are even longer. You start a show and you realize you're 400 episodes behind everyone else. I would never do that to you. And I was like, yeah, because I'm halfway through the show already. I appreciate that. With it being an anthology, I always appreciate those because if one episode doesn't hit, there's always the chance that the next one will, which is a double-edged sword because you can end up
liking half of it and hating the other half.
Yeah, or you can watch an episode and not like it and then just keep trying the next one and realize after a point you don't really like any of the show, but you've been watching because you think every episode might be the one. That's not the case with this show.
Like people watching Black Mirror.
And they're like, oh, maybe the next one won't crush my soul. It's like, yes, it will.
Yes, it will, unless you're watching 2 of them. There's only 2 episodes that will not.
On the record, I love Black Mirror.
I do too.
Right.
We're the 2 people on the podcast who do.
Exactly. This anthology, I think, is pretty good. It's marketed as a comedy, and I thought it would be all a comedy because of the way it came off in the trailer. And the first episode is called Social Justice Sex Tape. It has really goofy humor. It stars Ben Platt as a guy who he records a sex tape, but in the background of his sex tape, you can see evidence that exonerates a wrongfully convicted man. So, yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
And also horrible for him.
It's so ridiculous. And he goes into a law office run by Tracy Ellis Ross, and they're trying to defend Jermaine Fowler, who is the activist. He needs to be exonerated. And it's ridiculous. It's over the top, silly. Some of the jokes hit, some of them don't. The show is, I want to say more hit than miss with the comedy, but, it's not the funniest show I've seen. But the next episode is a complete change in direction. It's called Moment of Silence, and it's about gun violence. You can tell it's a change in direction because BJ Novak, at the beginning, he doesn't say anything. He stands in front of the camera for a second, and then it just cuts to the intro. And I thought, okay, moment of silence, I get it. And it's a drama. It's a complete drama. This is the episode I want to dive into, and then we can move on because it's just so different from the rest of the show. It stars John Bernthal and Boyd Holbrook. You know Boyd Holbrook.
I do.
Yeah. The Wolverine.
The What's I live and breathe. The Wolverine.
Yeah, I like that guy. He's dope. And a man joins a gun lobby group after a school shooting takes the life of his daughter. Pardon me for like minor spoilers. This is all stuff that, you learn. And there's a scene in which an older guy, he sees he's not okay, and he says, it's like Bo Bridges. So, older enough that he's playing a Vietnam vet. And he has an interesting line. He says, after Vietnam, a lot of soldiers were going through, well, not what you're going through, but a lot. He says some are okay, but some, and then he kind of trails off and he says, there's help out there. Because he sees that our main character is going through something.
Yeah.
And that's something he saw a lot with his fellow soldiers. And then the main guy responds, he says, sir, can I ask you a question about your service? And he says, the soldiers in your unit, were any of them a 5-year-old girl? It's such a powerful moment and it's such a line. Keep in mind, I'm watching a show that I thought was a comedy.
Yeah.
And this episode comes right after the sex tape episode that ends with an orchestral version of Back That Ass Up.
Why are the first episodes always some weird sex episode? Black Mirror started with the pig.
With the pig. I don't know.
That's how they hook you.
And that's funny because I think a lot of times about how HBO shows, the first seasons is usually all titties. Yeah. And then after a while, you get to a point where you're in for the story.
Yeah.
And they feel like they don't need to do that anymore.
It's true. Actors are just like, we're done doing this, like Emilia Clarke.
Right. You'll see, okay, yeah, now we're based on the characters and the stories. We got you with the titties and the violence, but, now you care. So we don't need to do that every episode anymore. But also the last episode of the show ends with, it's about a butt plug. So kind of book ended with
sex.
Silly sexual stuff. Yeah, it's an interesting show. The gun violence one, I said John Bernthal, Boyd Holbrook. And John Bernthal is amazing. Punisher. And this is interesting because it's kind of like a different side of the Punisher coin. Because, the Punisher lost his family, went on a rampage, started shooting everybody. And this is kind of like a more grounded, what could happen to someone in that situation. But John Bernthal is amazing, and he plays it perfectly. And, like, every line he delivers, you feel it because John Bernthal is so good.
Underrated.
So, yeah. And he keeps popping up in places, and I think he's just going to keep popping up in movies and shows until he's not underrated anymore, which I respect.
Marvel, bring him back as the Punisher, but in a movie.
We need that. But yeah, the premise, it's an interesting show. I would recommend it if you're into anthology shows because those are always hard to recommend. You never know. There's going to be something for you there, probably. I do think it hits on the drama better than it hits on the comedy. It only really leans into the drama that heavy in that one episode. But that's a good thing about anthologies.
I mean, if you like anthologies, then probably you'll be into it.
Yeah, I like when you can go into different genres and do different things with your overall theme, which is, current world topics and issues and blah, 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 blah. 5 episodes, won't take too long to check out if you want to. Nice. Just be ready because it's a lot in a lot of different ways.
What have I been watching? First off, I just finished my rewatch of The Witcher just in time for this weekend because The Witcher is coming back for season 2. Woohoo! Gonna watch that after I watch Spider-Man. But also I've been watching, I told you this, Batman the Animated Series.
Yes, you have.
Yeah, I don't consider it a rewatch because, like, it's hard to say I've rewatched anything from when I was a child unless I was religiously watching that show, like That's So Raven. Or like Static Shock. I used to watch Static Shock every Saturday.
Right.
Batman the Animated Series was a show that, like, I would watch if I saw it. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with, like, the Justice League cartoons and stuff like that.
Right.
Because we've been talking about Batman so often, Dallas talks about Batman the Animated Series all the time.
I do. I am putting on for it's so good. I love it.
Yeah, and with my excitement for the Batman coming out, as well as Batman Caped Crusader.
Right.
I was like, I'm just going to start watching Batman the Animated Series because I remember it being good when I was a kid. Yeah, so I'm like 10 episodes in, I want to say. I don't know. But yeah, I've been having a good time.
I love it so much.
It's so good. It's such a great animated series.
Right.
Obviously. I do love the fact that they never actually show you the name of the series because they knew that you would know who this character is. It's just like, it's Batman.
Right.
You don't need us to tell you it's Batman. It's Batman. And it's so good. The characters are so good. Obviously, like, everybody talks about how this is one of the best iterations of Batman that you can possibly find. And it's true. I'm really enjoying myself so far. I'm hoping that I'll finish the show before the Batman comes out, because that would be nice. There's only 3 seasons. It's just that I've been watching so much stuff in like the last couple of months that it's been hard to just keep watching it consistently.
Right.
Especially, there are so many TV shows I'm trying to get to right now.
Oh, yeah.
Batman the Animated Series will be there. So it's
true.
fine. I can always come back to it. But so far, it's been really good. So, yeah, Batman the Animated Series. I don't think I really need to say much more about that. You guys know who Batman is. It's on HBOMax if you guys are interested in rewatching it, or if you just want to check it out for the first time. It's been really good so far. I'm having a great time.
We need to talk about that more off mic because I love it so much.
We do.
It's one of those things that, came out when we were infants. So
that's true. It came out the year we were born.
Right. So, you can talk about it, but it's not the way you would talk about a show that's currently running. So, yeah, the way that, you guys talk about The Witcher or we talk about Young Justice or something like that, it's just has to come up in conversation for some reason for us to discuss it.
I think the first time I started watching it, I was like, bro, first 2 episodes with Catwoman, and my heart's already breaking. So,
man,
because I'm a Batcat fan.
The iterations of these characters are so good.
Yeah.
For all of them. But yeah, shout out to Kevin Conroy, my Batman, and Mark Hamill, my Joker. You've seen Harley in the show already.
Have I? Maybe
I'm
I
trying to
haven't
remember
seen
the
Harley.
order because there's the orders that they were made in and maybe even aired in, and then there's the orders on DVD versus HBO Max. It's a whole thing.
Maybe I haven't seen Harley yet. I've seen Poison Ivy for sure.
Okay.
That was a good episode too.
Arlene Sorkin. Chef's kiss. She's amazing.
Arlene Quinzel. Anyway, news section.
It's the news section.
News.
Yes. We are trailer tracking with a few things.
Trailer tracking.
Yeah.
I do really like trailer tracking. It
feel
sounds
like maybe
so
I'll
official.
Yeah, I feel like I'll alternate maybe.
Trailer train, trailer track.
Yeah, hopping on trailer train, trailer tracking.
Or hopping on the train to get on the trailer track.
Ooh, yeah. I like all this alliteration. So start us off with love.
With love. I'm very excited about this show. I've been excited since they announced the first casting choice, which was Emerald Tubia, who is an actress that I really enjoy because she was on a show called Shadowhunters.
Right.
And even in this trailer, so I love Shadowhunters. I never finished that show, by the way, but I did love that show. And her character was my favorite character. She played Isabella Lightwood, and she was really good on that show. Now, her character was just my kind of character. She wears a lot of black, and she kicks a lot of ass. But the thing about this trailer that I noticed is that I felt like she got to show a lot more of her acting range. To be fair, on Shadowhunters, there was an arc where her character was basically a drug addict, and she was really good at that.
Interesting.
But this one, I feel like, she gets to show off a lot more of her comedic chops. It's like a romantic comedy show, so she gets to show off that like aspect of like her acting that she can do.
Right.
And it's from the woman who created the remake of One Day at a Time, which was a show that I loved. It was so funny and it was so good, and I was very upset that it got canceled.
Wait, you love the remake or you
of
love
One Day at a Time?
The original.
Yeah, the remake of One Day at a Time.
So the show that I know the show that you guys are always talking about.
Yeah, the one with Rita Moreno.
That's a remake?
That's a remake.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So speaking of Rita Moreno,
right?
But yeah, the trailer finally came out. The show looks like a really good like romantic comedy. Like I just said a few minutes ago, there's only going to be 5 episodes, which means it'll be easy to watch because it comes out the same weekend as The Witcher. So I'm going to have to watch both of those back to back so that I can know whether or not they're going to make my best TV shows of the year list.
Right.
Because we need to record that as soon as possible. But yeah, I'm super excited. I love Emerald. Constance Marie is playing her mother, and I love Constance Marie.
Yo.
George Lopez show.
Yo. Constance Marie. This woman
does not age.
Pardon the phrasing. She had a chokehold on me from like most of the early 2000s because as with most of our generation, you watch TV, you fall asleep on the couch, you wake up to the George Lopez theme.
Yep.
At like 2 a.m. and you're just sitting there and you're thinking, all right,
I
like the show enough. I might as well watch it. And then Constance walks on just radiant as ever. The thirst was real when I was a teenager.
Yep. She's playing the mom in this show. Again.
That's her lane. She's always somebody's mom.
I was going to say, she was also Selena's mom. So
right.
Which she should not have been because she was only like 6 months older than Jennifer Lopez.
Really?
She wasn't much older.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, she's not much older than J-Lo.
She is not much older than
Why
J-Lo.
was she playing her mom?
I don't know.
What is going on?
Don't know. I'm also excited because Rome Flynn is on the show, and I was a fan of his when he was on How to Get Away with Murder.
Okay.
And I love the fact that, so he's Afro-Latino.
Okay.
I mean, the show is led by Latinx people.
Right.
Because that is what the creator, Gloria Calderon-Cayet, is most well known for. I mean, look at One Day at a Time. Rome Flynn is Afro-Latino. And I love the fact that it seems that he's going to be Emerald Tubia's main love interest.
Right.
Because we've talked quite a number of times this year about the lack of representation for Afro-Latinos.
Yeah, it keeps coming up.
Well, I think it keeps coming up because Latinx people are finally getting more representation.
Right.
And so it's
But not all of them.
Not all of them. So we have to make sure that they are also included in that. So I'm very excited that he is her main love interest. And also, like I said, I'm a huge fan of Emerald. I'm a huge fan of Rome Flynn. So the two of them together playing a couple sounds fantastic to me. But it seems like there's a lot of representation going around on this show. Isis King is on it. Isis King is a trans woman. And her character is going to have a love interest as well. And I love to see it. Love for everybody, people. Love for everybody. Emerald's character's brother is gay on the show. We're expanding. We can do this, guys. Representation can be easily done.
It's so easy.
It's so easy.
It's weird that it's still such a big thing because it doesn't happen enough. Just make the shows represent life and you'll have representation. Like, why are you making everybody in the show look the same and be the same?
It's not forced diversity. It's just life.
Right. It's accurate diversity.
Yeah. Desmond Chiam is on it, and I loved him in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I'm excited to see him on this.
Okay.
Andre Royo, who's playing Roman Flynn's father, he was on Empire, and he was hilarious on that show.
Gotcha.
So. But yeah, I'm super excited for the show. I also just realized this is the first time I've ever gotten to talk about Emerald Tubia on this channel.
Right.
And boy, you guys are in for it.
Oh, boy.
She's also one of those actresses that I really, really enjoy, but I haven't gotten to really talk about her because Shadowhunters was no longer a thing by the time we started this channel.
Right.
So, been no reason to mention her, but now I am, and she's great. So I'm very excited.
Dope.
Next trailer, Sonic.
Before we get into that, we took a brief break, and I realized that Demi has never had a breakfast burrito.
You discovered that I've never had a breakfast burrito.
I am disappointed. We are from Pasadena, home of Lucky Boy, and man, I just don't understand.
Yo, it's like getting a breakfast burrito from Lucky Boy is so popular it was mentioned in our senior yearbook.
As it should be. It's a staple.
Because Lucky Boy's was down the street from school. So yeah, it's something that I've never done. I've just never wanted a breakfast burrito.
I don't understand.
It's never been a thing that I've desired in the moment.
Such a strange.
Like in the moment when the opportunity arises, it's never just been something that I've wanted.
Right.
So I just have never gotten one.
Yes, we will put you on at some point.
I mean, you guys put me onto ramen, and I'm
gonna
obsessed.
say, yeah.
So
yeah.
I own a ramen bowl now.
As you should. Anyway,
shout out to Emily for giving me that ramen bowl.
Back to our regularly scheduled program.
Sonic.
The next trailer, Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
I didn't see the first movie.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
It was, I want to say it's one of the last movies I saw before COVID wiped out.
It would have been because it came out shortly after Birds of Prey, but I was in my Birds of Prey mode, so I was not seeing anything but Birds of Prey.
Yeah, it was fun.
I saw the end credit scene.
Right, with Tails.
Yes, because Tails is my boy. I love my boy Tails.
So I'm excited. I'm assuming you're going to watch this one for Tails at least?
Yeah, probably. Okay. Just for my boy Tails.
I'm excited. Jim Carrey was my favorite part of the last movie. Seeing him do his thing again. I'm ready for it. Ben Schwartz. He's funny. I like him. He's charming. I don't know him as a person, but like his characters are always that perfect amount of annoying that leans into the humor, but also I could see how it might not be for everyone. And that works for Sonic. Sonic had some adorable moments. He had some funny moments, but honestly, he's probably like in third place for things I'm excited about because I love Jim Carrey. And Knuckles, the way that Tails is your boy, Knuckles has always been my guy. And Idris Elba is such an interesting casting choice. And I didn't really know how they were going to do it. But man, when he pops in, everything about it, the shot, because even in the first one, they did some really cool shots with Sonic's powers.
Okay.
Like the blue lightning and everything like that. The action shots actually work very well for what I thought was just going to be a silly little movie. But that shot, the way Knuckles like does the thing, I'm trying to be vague because my wife is in the room and she doesn't watch trailers for movies that she's going to see. So I don't want to say exactly what happens.
When he's holding his hand out.
Yeah, so he's holding his hand out. That shot looks amazing. And the line that he gives, I was like, okay, I see why you got Idris for this.
I'm the one who truly wins because they brought the OG voice for Tails back.
They did. That's
Colin
so dope.
O'Shaughnessy is still playing Tails. I've never known who this person was. I just have always loved Tails. Back when I was in middle school, I used to play Sonic Heroes, I believe the game was called.
Okay.
I used to play it on Game Boy all the time with a lot of my guy friends over the summer.
Right.
During our summer program, that's what we would do. We would, like, if you caught us at lunch and if you caught us on the school bus to whatever field trip we were taking, we were playing Sonic. That was like my intro to Sonic and his like my love of Sonic mostly comes from video games that I've
Makes
played
sense.
of Sonic. Although I did used to watch the animated series every so often on Saturday mornings because Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah.
But Tails was always my favorite. Tails was always the one that I would use in the game because I was just like, Tails is the cutest. I love him. He's
I did
so
like Tails
cute.
a lot growing up.
So yeah, I'll probably watch it. Also, Natasha Rothwell is in this movie and she is so hilarious on Insecure.
Oh, her. Yeah, okay.
You know what we
she's
call
in the
that?
First one.
Growth. I'll probably have to just watch the first one before the second one comes out. I'm mostly interested in this movie just so I can see Tails. That's it. I just want to see Tails.
I think you'll enjoy. It's a fun movie. She is in the first one. Okay, yeah. Natasha Rothwell is in the first movie as well.
She's hilarious. I also am a big fan of James Marsden and Tika Sumpter. So
I love James Marsden.
the James who feels like he should be a Chris, but is not.
Such a likable guy.
Our last trailer, the one that we are most excited for, that we wish everybody had been here to discuss, but are not.
So, there's a little background info for this episode. Originally, it was going to be Demi, Gabby, and Colin because I had something to do today. It turns out I was able to make it, and most of the effort to making it was because of the Across the Spider-Verse trailer. And it turned out to just be me and Demi. Like, what the hell?
This is what we did.
Yeah, forget them.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse shockingly got a trailer.
Right.
The day that we had a full 2-hour conversation about Spider-Man movies,
Right.
which you guys are about to hear very soon.
That's true. I just wish we were talking about Spider-Verse.
We were talking about the trailer coming. Well, we didn't talk about the trailer coming out for the movie until after the podcast was recording, but we were talking about the potential of the next movie.
Right.
In that podcast.
Just what are the odds that right after we finish, they drop the trailer? But it's so good.
So it's technically a first look. It's not actually a trailer.
Right. I saw that.
Which, yes, because it's literally a scene, and then we get to see some other cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which is basically also in itself another scene. It's like two scenes put together to make a first look.
Their dynamic, again, between Miles and Gwanda, if you will.
You guys will hear me talk about it tomorrow. I'm looking forward to it.
It's so good. And this little small scene, this little microcosm of their dynamic is so good. The way that it feels like they haven't lost a step in
even
their
though they're
back
older.
And forth. Which is weird because something we talked about off mic is that it opens with the last shot of the first movie.
But he's clearly older in that shot.
Right.
And then as it pulls out, it's even more clear that he's older.
Right, like, oh, he's grown a few years, and she has too. They're both
like
taller,
he's lankier, he's got muscle,
right.
His face looks more defined. He doesn't look like a little kid anymore. And then when Gwen pops up, I'm like, your hair is longer. You're still rocking the same hairstyle though, which clearly she liked it.
Yeah, it's dope.
And she's not even wearing her ballet shoes anymore. She's wearing sneakers.
I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, she's wearing sneakers.
Okay. Dope.
But still standing on point, even in her sneakers.
As she should. I love that the out the window costume change.
Oh, it's so good.
Is Spider-Man grounded? They're giving cinema already.
Just that fall out the window and
right.
then the on her toes and standing on the wall.
It's so good.
I love Gwen Stacy. I'm so excited.
I got super hyped when Miguel, aka Spider-Man 2099, showed up. No lines, but just seeing him.
Still played by Oscar Isaac, though. That has been confirmed.
Right. As he should be. Like, you don't get Oscar Isaac just for a credit scene.
Absolutely
That would
not.
be ridiculous. And he was really funny in that credit scene.
Yes.
So I'm sure he will be again. And that scene, it looks like we're doing something new again with the art style.
Yes, because
that has its own.
Yeah, it starts with, which a lot of people have pointed out that this is Spider-Man India in that first universe that we go to.
Okay.
There's an Indian Spider-Man.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
There is. And people have pointed out that this is most likely that universe.
Okay.
Also, if you'll, I have not done this yet. It would probably require me to play the trailer in slow motion, which is not a thing that I do.
Right.
But at the beginning, when it says in another universe, when it glitches out, one of the glitches is in Hindi or something like that.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah. So it looks like they might be bringing the Indian Spider-Man into this movie.
I love it.
And then they transfer into a different universe, which looks like 2090, might be 2099's universe.
Right.
Because it looks really futuristic and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people are saying that 2099 is attacking Miles Morales.
I see how they would get that.
You could also read it as him trying to protect Miles.
Yeah.
Because it looks like it could be either way.
It looks like both. The way he comes in, I thought, what's he doing to Miles? But like the way that they continue through the scene, I thought, wait, is this a I'm trying to grab you, protect you situation?
Yeah.
Or like come with me if you want to live? I don't know.
It feels very aggressive.
Right. The way he came in, he came in like an antagonist. And I thought, what's happening here?
And it doesn't help that Miles is fighting back because I also would fight back if somebody grabbed me like that.
Yeah, bro, what you doing? I don't know you.
Right, like, get off me.
Get off me, fam.
Especially because I'm Spider-Man. So like, get off me.
Either way, I am so hyped.
Also, the multiversal travel scene, that sequence.
Yeah.
I love the animation. I love the way that it looks.
So dope.
And it's so funny because, and you've seen it, I made a birthday invitation for my brother who just turned 13. We're having a private showing of Spider-Man for his birthday. But I made his birthday invitation looks hella into the Spider-Verse, more so than anything else. But I took the hexagonal shapes of the portals that are in that trailer. I put them in the invitation.
Oh, nice.
And I made them like the same color.
Right.
To give it sort of that same aesthetic. So
very Spider-Verse.
Very Spider-Verse. It's a very Spider-Verse invitation for going to see No Way Home.
It's Spider-Man adjacent.
But I made my brother Miles, so that's what we're doing here. Across the Spider-Verse, coming out on my birthday, 2022. I never get super... Well, okay, depending on who you are. If you like Venom, you would think that I got a cool superhero movie for my birthday. I'm super excited about getting an Into the Spider-Verse movie for my birthday, and it's part 1.
Right. That's not something I expected.
No, I don't think anybody did. It says part 1 in the trailer, and it's like, oh my gosh.
Like, that's what we're doing?
Gonna be another one. Even just getting part 1 is exciting.
Give me all the Spider-Verse movies that you want to make. I'm down for it.
Yep. Moving on from trailer reactions.
Yes.
News. Ana de Armas is set to replace Scarlett Johansson in Apple TV Plus's Ghosted opposite Chris Evans.
Yeah.
This is like one of those like, there is no losing, there is no winning. It's just a net neutral, just we didn't lose and we didn't gain. It just,
or like you continue to win.
Yes.
Because you're already winning when it was Scarlett.
Yeah, exactly.
And now you're winning in a different way with Ana de Armas.
Exactly. I love Scarlett Johansson. Am I sad that she's not going to be in this movie? Sure, because it's Scarlett Johansson. I want to watch anything Scarlett Johansson's in. Right. But also, I do love Ana de Armas.
It's funny because I wasn't super aware of this movie. I think I heard about it at first with the original casting, and I wasn't, because it's like a romantic action adventure situation.
And I think Scarlett was also producing on the film too, which I'm assuming she's no longer doing since she's not in the movie
right,
anymore.
She has like scheduling conflicts and such.
I'm assuming Disney stuff is getting in the way.
Probably.
Which is funny to say after that lawsuit.
I wasn't super interested. I also didn't know a lot about it. But I just thought, okay.
I think we still don't know a lot about it, except that these two people are in it.
Right, but now we know that Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick are writing it.
I think we knew that already.
Right, I didn't know that.
Oh, because you didn't know that.
When Ana de Armas came on, I thought, let me look into this movie. And then I see Rhett Reese and Paul Wernick are writing it, and I'm thinking, oh, I love them. Now I'm interested.
I think if it's only makes me sadder because, like I said, I love Scarlett Johansson. I don't think Scarlett Johansson really gets to show off her comedic chops a lot because she's very funny.
Yeah, she doesn't get a whole lot of that.
Yeah, she doesn't pick up a lot of those roles, except like if you watch her on like SNL or if you see Rough Night, she's so funny.
But speaking of funny, Kayla and I just recently rewatched Knives Out on Thursday.
Oh, and Ana de Armas is funny as well.
Right, and so is Chris Evans. So seeing this news and then watching Knives Out again, I'm even more excited now.
It doesn't matter. Either way you pull it, Chris Evans is reuniting with a previous co-star who he has a lot of chemistry with.
Right.
Like I said, it's a win regardless. Whether it's Scarlett, whether it's Ana de Armas, it's going to be a good movie.
Yeah.
I'm very excited because I'm glad Ana de Armas is starting to get more action roles where she's probably going to get to do the action. Initial introduction to her was Blade Runner 2049.
Right.
Which is a bit of an action movie. But she's a hologram in that movie. She doesn't do a lot.
No, she stands there, talks a bit.
Yeah, but then we just got this James Bond movie where she has 10 minutes of being awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, give me all of Ana de Armas being an action hero.
But yeah, Ana is getting that bag lately.
I'm glad she is.
Yeah, Knives Out, No Time to Die.
Ballerina.
Right, and talks to play the lead in the Ballerina, which I think would be dope. Apparently she's in The Gray Man.
I think I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
It says she starred with Evans and Ryan Gosling in The Gray Man, which is directed by the Russo brothers. I don't know anything about this movie, but all those names are interesting to me. So yeah, shout out to Ana. She's doing her thing.
She's great.
Speaking of the Russos and Chris Evans, let's move on to Marvel.
Yo, Marvel News Recap. We got a lot of Marvel news this week. Not a lot to say about any of them, but I like all of this information. Shang-Chi sequel in the works with Destin Daniel Cretton back to direct.
Yeah.
He did a great job with the first one. Definitely give him the second one. But also, what's not mentioned in the headline is that he is also apparently doing a Marvel show of some sort, a series.
Oh.
Have not said what it is yet,
but
that he is developing a series for Marvel, I'm assuming for Disney+. I'm curious, are they going to give Shang-Chi's sister a TV series? Because she was dope.
Oh, maybe about the Ten Rings? That would be interesting.
Monger Zhang was amazing in Spider-Man, in Shang-Chi and the Legends of the Ten Rings.
Marvel is getting busy with all the shows and movies that they got going on.
I don't know if I love it or if I'm not into it. It's just, it's a lot to keep up with.
It's overwhelming.
It is.
It's hard to stay whelmed. as the kids on Young Justice would say. It's just so much, but
it's like, yes, I'm excited for all of it, but also, oh my gosh, it's coming so fast.
Right, because we got, 4 Disney Plus MCU shows this year?
Yeah, and it took me forever just to get to Hawkeye.
Right, I still haven't started Hawkeye.
Which I highly recommend. Once I started it, I could not stop.
And they put out like 2 animated shows on Hulu this year, MODOK and Hitmonkey, which are
different. Marvel Studios isn't doing that.
Exactly, but just like the amount of Marvel content that's coming out.
That's like, they had like 4 TV shows, 4 movies. Well, I mean, Spider-Man doesn't count, so 3 movies.
Okay. But like.
And then like supposedly next year we're getting like 4 movies and even more television shows.
They are in overdrive over there.
It's nonstop. It
does
not end.
I like Shang-Chi enough that I'll watch the sequel. I like Awkwafina a lot. I hope she's popping up again.
Probably will be.
It'd be weird if she wasn't.
I also saw Justin Daniel Cretton at a film festival like last month.
Oh, nice.
Recently he presented an award and he is so funny.
Nice.
He is. Just like as a person, he's so funny. I wanted to meet him, but he like left before I could get up to go talk to him.
Is he Asian?
Yes, he is.
Okay, good.
Next up, Kevin Feige confirms Charlie Cox as the MCU's Daredevil.
So this one...
Which does not tell us if he's going to pop up anytime soon.
Or at all. Because what he said was, if you were to see Daredevil in upcoming things, Charlie Cox, yes, would be the actor playing Daredevil. Where we see that, how we see that, when we see that remains to be seen. This doesn't even actually mean that he's coming back.
This does not.
If Daredevil comes back, it's going to be Charlie, which, yeah, it better be.
I hope so.
But this is the kind of headline that I feel like it's out there just to kind of get people's hopes up for something that we might not get.
It's really weird because obviously there have been a lot of rumors that Charlie Cox might be in the new Spider-Man movie.
Right. People are, that was his arm.
Yeah, so it's not, as proven by IMAX. But some people think that this is just Feige confirming it without confirming it. It's
right, in his way, it's Kevin Feige way of doing things.
Yeah, speculation in the Marvel Universe is wild.
Yeah.
But with the potential of Wilson Fisk showing up currently on Hawkeye, because now that I've watched Hawkeye, I understand why people think that Fisk is returning.
Right.
There's definitely hints at that character returning to this universe. Maybe this is confirmation that Charlie Cox will be back.
I would love for this to be confirmation. But also like the speculation thing you talked about.
Mephisto.
How far have we come that you guys are looking at trailers, seeing someone's forearms and saying, I know those arms. That's Charlie Cox. Like, do you hear yourselves? Can you relax?
It's a lot.
Everybody just chill for a second. You saw somebody's arms and you thought, I know Charlie Cox well enough that I can recognize his forearms in a movie trailer.
And it was not him.
And of course not. Like, what are you guys doing? Calm down. But I do want him to come back. So
desperately want him to come back.
Is it Echo who's getting a show?
Yes, Echo. Who is very good on Hawkeye so far, by the way.
And she has ties to Kingpin in the comics. She's his
That's what they've
daughter.
definitely... Well, she's definitely not his daughter in this universe.
Okay.
She has an uncle.
Got it. We need Charlie Cox. He's amazing. Daredevil it's my favorite of the Netflix shows.
As it should be.
Which says a lot because I like all of those except for Iron Fist.
Honestly, just bring Jessica Henwick back as the Iron Fist Colleen Wing. And then the last piece of news, Kobe Smulders returning as Maria Hill in Secret Invasion. I've already talked about the fact that Secret Invasion is probably my most anticipated Marvel Disney Plus series that we have coming out. I'm so happy that Maria Hill is coming back, teaming up with Nick Fury. That's what we need in this world, is for our S.H.I.E.L.D. people to be back and in action.
Secret Invasion is the Skrulls, right?
Yep.
I've never been a huge fan of the Skrulls in the comics. It wasn't my favorite story, but I do think what they've done with them so far in the movies, I've liked.
Well, they've given them more nuance. They're not all evil.
Right. They're not just an evil race of aliens. I do very much enjoy, like, Ben Mendelsohn.
Yes.
As Talos.
And he will be back.
As he should. He's fantastic. Kobe Smulders is dope. Maria Hill is dope. I'm not super excited for this news, but I'm happy about it.
I'm super happy about it. I just hope that she gets more to do because Maria Hill was the director of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
in the comics for a while. There are so many characters in the MCU that I'm just like, you guys have sidelined so many great comic characters, and now you have the opportunity to do them justice, and I just want that.
Yeah.
It's the same way that I feel about Sharon Carter. Same way that I still feel about Black Widow on occasion. There's so much that you can do with some of these characters, and I'm really hoping that they really do justice with Maria Hill.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably the benefit of them putting out 1,000 shows and movies, is that we have more time to show off these characters that maybe didn't get their shine yet.
The last piece of news, absolute last piece of news that we have, still continuing in the comic universe, but switching over to the DC universe, Colin Farrell to reprise his role as the Penguin in the Batman spinoff series. Now, when I initially read this headline, I thought they were talking about the police procedural TV show that they're coming out with, not a Penguin TV series, because I forgot that they're coming out with a Penguin TV series.
Yeah, DC is doing their own version of we're doing a lot. And, you know, DC's always doing their own version
in
of
Batman.
we're doing a lot. But yeah, it's
mostly in Gotham.
Yeah, Batman is their dude. Yeah, so this news for me, I instinctively thought of the Penguin one because I honestly forgot about the other one. But
you forgot about the
I forgot about the
GCC.
Yeah, the freaking Law and Order Gotham show. I thought, yeah, of course he's gonna reprise his role, but you don't get Colin Farrell and then not try to bring him back, especially when they did so much to make him unrecognizable. I still don't believe that's Colin Farrell, and I'm looking at a picture. It looks so much more like Richard Kind. Movie magic, man, it's crazy. I'm very excited to see him in the Batman. He's a fantastic actor.
Coming for that makeup Oscar.
Mm-hmm. And
he also looks really good in this trailer. Like, not just like the makeup, I'm talking about like his performance.
Yeah. For me, nothing like I would expect the Penguin to act or sound like, because he's never acted or sound like that before.
Yeah.
But as a character I've never really even liked, I'm fine with it. Like, if you want to change it up to make it better, make it better. I am excited to see that he's getting his own show.
Yeah, the article says that the series would then reportedly delve into the Penguin's rise to power in the Gotham criminal underworld.
Which is funny because the show Gotham, that was part of it. Kind of, they had a younger Oswald
Cobblepot.
Yeah, and that guy was really good too. The guy who played him in Gotham.
I heard he was really good.
Robin Lord Taylor. Yeah, he had this really creepy My Chemical Romance energy that he brought to the character, which was dope. But yeah, we'll see.
I'm excited for this because I'm just so excited about this version of the Batman.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, WB really has a lot of faith in whatever Matt Reeves' vision is for this Gotham universe that they have. Movie's not even out yet, and he already has 2 spin-off TV series that are set to go for HBOMax.
And he's working on Caped Crusader,
He is working on Caped Crusader as well. Now, that's probably not part of his universe.
Right, animated.
But it's clear that Matt Reeves is a huge Batman fan. It's like, we have the DCEU, yes, we're working on that. But this Batman universe, man, they are really putting their energy into it.
Yeah.
It already feels like a very lived-in universe.
Right.
Which is
doing
wild.
So much with it.
That's all we've got for you guys today.
Yes, it is. Thank you for listening to all of that.
Tune in next time. We will be giving our ranking for our top 5 favorite Spider-Man movies in honor of the release of Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah, I hope you're not tired of comic book stuff, because
that's what we do best.
That's a long one. But it's fun. You should listen to it because we deserve your attention.
Listen to it in doses.
Yeah. Or, if you're like me, just listen to it at work. Thank you, Crown Digital, Brandon, and I, for putting us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Demi, thank you for editing, putting us on YouTube.
Watching West Side Story.
Watching West Side Story being the other half of the podcast today.
Oh, I try. There was a chance that I was going to be the only one on this podcast, and then there was no episode at all.
Thank you to Colin and Gabby for letting me check my notes. Nothing. Audience, what'd you think of West Side Story? Are you excited for Across the Spider-Verse? Of course you are. Let us know in the comments or hit us on Twitter at y'all_different, Instagram and Tumblr, Creative Differences Podcast, or Facebook.com/Creative Differences PC. If you want to talk to me about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, because of course, hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at A King Named Simba.
And you guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Dreamy Films. Dreamy is spelled DREEMI. Thanks again for joining us.
Yes, and of course, you can find Gabby on Twitter at DickDizzyDame, and you can find Colin on Twitter at AGayFantasia, or on his Instagram at Chino Cochino.
I am so glad that Dick Dizzy keeps coming back.
One of my friends, shout out Travell if you're listening, I recently told him about the podcast, and he was listening to the West Side Story episode, and he was just texting me like the parts that he liked, and he just texted, Dick Dizzy.
You know what? We need to explain. Dick Dizzy is legitimately slang term from, what was it, the 50s?
No.
Oh, no, we made up Dick Dizzy.
I think it was Dame Dizzy or something. It was like a guy who's like obsessed over women. So we were like, what's the
woman version was not as good, so we made up our own.
So Dick Dizzy.
Dick Dizzy.
All right.
Man, it's been different.
Bye.
We're insane. I can't believe we're putting out 2 episodes in 2 days. Again.
You're welcome.